I wanted to bring you today into a little bit of behind the scenes here at Worthy. So I have an incredible team who works incredibly hard to put together all kinds of content that, as I said, is focused on reminding you of that fact that you are worthy. And one of the things that we have is a monthly coaching membership. The monthly coaching membership is called the Worthy Collective. And every month, we have a different theme that we reflect on. And last month, I'm bringing you to last month's theme. Last month, our theme was habits. Now, for those of you who've been around for a minute, you know that I am a certified habits coach. And so one of the things I love talking about is habits, because everything we have, everything we don't have in our life comes from our habits, comes from the things that we do every day without even thinking about it, comes from the things that we do subconsciously. And one of the things that we do subconsciously without even realizing it is our habits of thinking. I'll pause on that for a second because I think most people have never really thought about the fact that your thoughts are habits. When I talk about habits, most of the time people think about, going to the gym, or I eat healthy, or I save money. Rarely do we ever think about the fact that our thinking is a habit. That literally the way you think is habitual. If you're someone who tends to see the glass as half full, that's habit. If you're someone who tends to catastrophize everything, that is habit. And it all comes from how we think, and also from something even smaller than that. It's the things that we say to ourselves. I read something when I was doing my certification that said that we think roughly, I think about 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. 60 to 80,000 thoughts. And of those thoughts, the majority are thoughts that we have thought before. They're habits. And here's what's even sadder, is that a lot of the thoughts that we think are negative. The majority of things we think are negative thoughts. And the majority of things that we think in our minds is our self-talk, the way we speak to ourselves. And so I wanted to bring you, as I said, behind the scenes to our coaching from last month from the Worthy Collective, which is my monthly coaching membership. And our theme, I'll show you, for those of you who are listening to this on a podcast or whatever, you're like, what? But I'll show you, this is our cover for this month. It was habits. Your success superpower. And what I talked about in there was based very heavily on a little book. It literally is a tiny little book that I have read so many times. If you were to see, like if I show you the pages, it has highlights and it's dog marked. And you can see I have little stickies because I read this all the time. I come back to it all the time. And it is a book that is called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's by an author called Shad Helmstetter. Now, this is a little bit of an older book. I think it was published in 1986. So it sometimes is a little bit hard to find. But this is such a phenomenal book because rarely, as I said, do we ever stop to think about what we say to ourselves and what we think. And yet, all day, every day, we're having conversations in our mind. And so our theme for last month was your success habits being your success superpower. And specifically, we're dialed in on the habit of self-talk. What do you say in your mind, the things that you probably would never say to somebody else out loud? And that's what I shared last month. And what I want to share with you, as I said, are 5 tips that I learned from this book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. And I want to share a quote, actually, from the book. So in the book, Shad Helmstetter says, "You are everything that is. Your thoughts, your life, your dreams come true. You are everything you choose to be. You are as unlimited as the endless universe. You are as unlimited as the endless universe, and you are everything that you choose to be." Like, what a powerful place to operate from, knowing that you can be, you can do, you can have anything that you want. But the thing that stands in our way is actually something that Lao Tzu said, a quote from Lao Tzu, where Lao Tzu said, "What's your thoughts? They become your words. What's your words? they become your actions. What's your actions? They become your habits. What's your habits? They become your character. What's your character? It becomes your destiny. So literally, our life is being shaped by the way that we think, is being shaped by the words that we use. And as I said, my goodness, we use our thoughts and we use our words to beat ourselves up. There's another book that I'm going to do, we'll talk about. It's a book called Nonviolent Communication by Dr. Rosenberg. And in that book, he said something. I read that book maybe about 3 years ago. And he said something that, wow, like literally took my breath away. He was talking about communication and how most of our failures stem from communication. And he was a negotiator, global negotiator, peace negotiator. And he talked about the fact that we don't communicate well. But he said something that was so profound to me. He said, our most violent communication is to ourselves. Our most violent communication, the way we beat ourselves up, the way we beat ourselves down, isn't from the outside world. It's what happens between your ears. It's the words that you say to yourself. And so I really wanted to share with you, as I said, 5 tips today. I'm sharing 5 tips that you can be aware of, that you can use to start to have more productive conversations with yourself. And so let's first of all, before we talk about the productive conversations, let's talk about the unproductive conversations. So Dr. Shad Helmstetter in this book, What to Say When You Speak to Yourself, talks about the levels of self-talk. And he says there are 5 different levels of self-talk that we all engage in. He says that level 1, which is the most destructive, is something that he calls the level of negative acceptance. This is where he says we say words to ourselves like, I can't, I shouldn't, I wish I could. It's the words where we limit ourselves, where we tell ourselves that we cannot. And so that's the most base, most destructive level of our self-talk, is when we tell ourselves, not the world, not other people, when we tell ourselves that we cannot achieve, that we cannot do. He says that the level 2 of self-talk is something that he calls the level of recognition and need to change. So this is where you know that what you're doing isn't great. You know you shouldn't be eating the cookies, that you know you should be saving money. And we say to ourselves, well, I need to, I should, I must, I have to. These are all words that are so disempowering. I need to, I should, I have to, I must, are all words that imply that, well, it's something outside of ourselves, that it's not coming from within ourselves. So that's level 2, is the level of recognition and need to change. Level 3 is the level where you've decided to change. And this, he says, is the first level of self-talk where it actually is working for us. This is the level where you say, I never eat more than I should, right? Or I should exercise and I'm going to, or I'll never tolerate, or I'll no longer tolerate this behavior from myself. I'll no longer tolerate being treated in that way. I'll no longer tolerate being spoken to in that way. So at that stage, we're starting to make the shift, starting to make the change. Then there's level 4 that he says is the level of the better you. This is something that I am so passionate about. If you've been following me for a hot minute, you know that this is something that I am so passionate about and have talked about, and in fact have another platform that is named after this. And it is the words, the power of I am. I am. Because whatever you say after I am really shapes your destiny. It speaks to what you're saying is possible for yourself. I am. I am strong. I am resilient. I am. Because those words is what you tell your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind takes that as direction and starts to act in that way. The power of I am. And so that was some of the stuff that we talked about in our membership last week. But I wanted to leave you with practical tips today, 5 practical tips of how you can start to shift your self-talk, how you can start to get into the habit of speaking to yourself like someone who loves themselves, someone who truly values themselves. Because one of the things that you'll hear me say over and over and over again is everything you have, everything you don't have in your life, first of all, starts with your self-worth. What you think you're worthy of having, what you think, the value that you put on yourself. What do you think is what you are worth having? What do you think you are worthy of? What is the value that you put on who you are? So let's get started with the 5 tips. This is the 5 methods for self-talk. These are 5 methods that you can start to implement literally right away. So number 1 is your silent self-talk. Okay, so this is that conversation that's going on in your head where no one else knows that you're talking to yourself in this way. But catching yourself, whenever you say, oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Catching yourself, stop it. And literally, one of the most powerful things that you can do is actually do a pattern interrupt, like literally say out loud, stop it. Stop yourself. Interrupt yourself and think about, is this thought serving me? How is this thought serving me? How is this thought helping me to be better? So really standing guard at the gate of your self-talk, what you say when you talk to yourself. So number 1, watch the silent thoughts that go through your head. Another powerful thing that you can do is actually to speak to yourself. I just gave an example of a pattern interrupt. So sometimes when I find myself spiraling in my thoughts and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I start catastrophizing, because when it's just in your thoughts, it's so easy to like, and then, and you end up in this worst case scenario. So something that you can do is actually to speak out loud whatever it is that you're thinking. And here's what it does when you say it out loud. See, when you're thinking it, it really, it just stays there. But when you use the power of your words and you hear yourself say the words, I am so dumb, or I am so stupid, or I'm whatever negative thing, it suddenly becomes real that, oh, did I just say that? And so you can use your words out loud to finish the sentence. Catch yourself saying a negative thought about yourself. I'm so dumb. I'm so stupid. Say it out loud. And suddenly your brain will be like, oh, did I just say that? And then also using the power of your words, speaking out loud to pattern interrupt yourself. So when you catch yourself in all these thought loops about I'm so and this is so, say it out loud. Stop it. Like literally say those words. Stop it. Like there's something when your words, like literally, it's almost like you shocked yourself into the present. Stop it. And I say that to myself all the time. Stop it, Sandra. And I say my name because it, again, directs my mind, my subconscious mind, to stop going into these thoughts, into these ruts, these habits of negative thinking. So say it out loud is another one. Self-conversations. This is another powerful way for you to manage the thoughts that you think, to manage the things that you say to yourself about what is possible. So self-conversation is literally playing out a scenario and doing it out loud. You know, someone who's great at doing this in my family is my husband. He has whole conversations by himself in the shower, like where he'll say something to himself and then he'll respond. And a great way to use self-conversation is in this way. So when you have something negative that's going on, ask yourself the question, like say it out loud, say the thing out loud, like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna get this job. Then say out loud to yourself, what's the worst that will happen if that happens? And answer yourself, okay, if I don't get this job, then I'm not gonna have the money. Then answer yourself again, and what's the worst that will happen if that happens? And you do that 7 times. It's something called 7 layers deep, where you keep asking yourself the question, say out loud the fear that you have, the negative thought that you have, and then ask yourself the question, what's the worst that would happen if that was true? What's the worst that would happen if that was true? And speaking those words, because you suddenly have insights about, oh, am I thinking this? Oh, and when you do the 7 layers deep, you'll realize that the things that you fear, if the worst happened, is probably not as bad as what you were catastrophizing before you put it into words. So that's number 3, is self-conversation. The fourth suggestion that I have for you is something that is called self-write, where you write to yourself. And this is, y'all know, I have like a bajillion. I wish I could show you my bookshop. I literally have a basket this big, which is just full of journals. I journal all the time. Because again, there's something that happens when you take a thought and then you write it out. Because you're somehow able to be more rational when you're looking at it in your own writing in the cold light of day. And it's also especially powerful when you do something that is called stream of consciousness. So if you've never heard of this, this is literally where you take your notebook, your journal, whatever, and you just write. You don't censor yourself. You literally are just writing the thoughts that come to you. Because what you're doing there is inviting your subconscious mind to participate. And when you invite your subconscious mind to just write all of the thoughts, all of the fears, all of the things, then when you look at those again in the cold light of day, you're able to realize that some of the fears that you have are just irrational. They're not really rational. Or when you've written it out, whatever your fears are, whatever it is that the negative thing that's stuck in your head, when you write it out, you present yourself with the opportunity, you present your subconscious mind with the opportunity to start to find solutions. So that's what will naturally happen, is your brain will start to think of solutions for this problem because you've now laid it out in a almost like tangible way. So that's number 4, is writing, self-write. Write to yourself, write letters to yourself about your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your fears. Because again, the more you put it out in writing, the more your subconscious mind, you're employing your subconscious mind to help you in that direction, in the direction of either solving it if it's a problem, or directing your subconscious mind towards the positive thing that you want. And then the last thing, which is so powerful, y'all, this is so super simple, but so powerful. It is something that I can't show you because I can't show you my phone. But on my phone, what I have got is I have affirmations that I have recorded. This is the power, right? Yes, you can write out, write out your affirmations. But there's something really powerful about you reading the words into audio and then listening to it. And so literally every single morning I have a recording on my phone. Literally just take your phone, the message app, whatever it's called, and I recorded my affirmations of who I want to be. I recorded my goals, the things that I'm working towards. I recorded the person that I want to be and how I want to show up. And it literally is like, my recording is 3 minutes long. And I listen to it first thing in the morning. I listen to it in the middle of my workday sometimes. I listen to it before I go to bed. And what that does is, first of all, 2 things. Number 1 is the fact that you're hearing your own voice speak these powerful words. Powerful words. This is not to be used for like negative, I'm so scared of this. This is, who do you want to be? What's the direction that you want to go? And so when you record these powerful words of affirmation, these powerful words of your dreams, these powerful words of who you want to be, and then you play that back in your own voice, hearing your own voice, there's something that happens in your subconscious mind where your subconscious mind accepts it as being true. And so what your subconscious mind will now do is start to find ways to take you towards whatever that goal is, whatever that affirmation is, whatever that dream is that you have. And so it's literally a simple thing, and playing it over and over again, because you've heard me say before, I will say it to you again. Your subconscious mind runs anywhere between 90 to 95% of everything that you do. We think that, we're making conscious decisions, we're choosing to do this or that. Yes, you may be, but underlying that, all of your beliefs, all of your habits, all of the things that you do without even thinking about are being controlled at a subconscious level. They're coming from your subconscious mind. And so the more that you can give your subconscious mind direction to take you towards where you want to go, to take you towards your dreams, to take you towards your goals, to take you towards the person that you want to be, then that becomes so powerful. So recording on your phone with your voice notes app and just playing that over and over again. Any moment you think about it, first thing in the morning is really powerful, because first thing in the morning, your brain hasn't yet had time to absorb all of the negative. And also when you do it first thing in the morning, your brain is still in somewhat of a theta brainwave state. And that's the level of consciousness where you're tapping into your subconscious mind. And so first thing in the morning, and then most definitely last thing at night, right before you're ready to go to bed, put your phone away, listen to your affirmations, listen to your audio recording. Because again, you're now feeding into your subconscious mind where you want it to go, what you want it to do, how you want it to be problem solving while you're sleeping. And so those are the 5 things, the 5 tips that I wanted to share with you today about how your words have power and how you can use your self-talk, the things that you say to yourself on a regular basis, to move you towards your dreams, to move you towards the life that you are worthy of. And so real quick recap before going up is number 1, your silent self-talk. What do you say to yourself on the regular? What are you saying? Really monitoring your thoughts. Anytime you catch yourself in a negative thought, thinking to yourself, how can I change this? How can I present myself with a more positive and empowering thought? So number 1, your self-talk. Number 2 is your self-speak. Actually using your words to yourself to pattern interrupt, using your words to affirm yourself and where it is that you want to go. The number 3 thing that I shared with you is self-conversation. The fact that you literally can problem solve by talking to yourself, having conversations with yourself. Number 4 is all about self-write, the power of writing, the power of your words in written form, in your handwriting, to direct your mind, direct your subconscious mind. And then number 5, that magic that I said to you, which is all about recording your affirmations, recording your goals, recording who you want to be, how you want to show up, your values, recording those, literally using your phone app and listening to that multiple times every single day, because our subconscious mind responds to repetition. I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that there was a nugget that you took away from it. But if there is one thing that I do want you to remember as you go through your days, as you go through, especially now as we're coming towards the end of the year, is the fact that Lao Tzu quote, and I'll read it to you again, which says, watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. What's your character? It becomes your destiny. And again, because there's power in repetition, I'm going to repeat for you one last quote from this book, the book that I said I absolutely love, which is What to Say When You Speak to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. And he said, you are everything that is. Your thoughts, your life, your dreams come true. You are everything you choose to be. You are as unlimited as the endless universe. And I want you to remember that you are worthy. You are worthy to be, to do, to have whatever it is that your heart desires. Make it a great week as you go into this new week.